Friends, I get a lot of questions on traveling to Leh Ladakh or Spiti Valley in this nightmarish pandemic hit year as well. After the usefulness of my last video from May first week on this very topic, I have decided to publish monthly updates with respect to traveling to Leh Ladakh or Spiti Valley in this COVID lockdown conditions, where I will talk about what are the current rules in the month, what are the road conditions, and what are the restrictions or hardships that you will undergo if you decide to travel to Spiti Valley or Ladakh in 2021. Also, unlike last video, as I am going to kick off the Spiti Valley travel guide series from next Monday, I will share the updates in this video about traveling to Spiti Valley as well in COVID lockdown conditions. Friends, before we begin, like my last video from May, I cannot stress more on the importance of staying at home, staying safe, wearing masks, following COVID-19 guidelines and keeping others safe as well, including the locals of the remote region. However, those of you who are fully vaccinated and or cannot hold back on the already booked travel plans for Leh Ladakh or Spiti Valley region, let us look at some of the fresh updates from the month of June that will help you on your trip. Julie friends, if you are new to my channel, my name is Dheeraj and I help people in planning memorable trips to the Himalayas. First, let's talk about the road condition and status of traveling to Leh Ladakh by road. As per the first week of June, both Manali Leh Highway and Srinagar Leh Highway are open for tourists. Manali Leh Highway continues to face intermittent road closures at Baralachala Pass due to snowslides or avalanches. The road conditions near Baralachala Pass is not that great with ice on the road and slush sections as well. Even though the road gets closed, but it opens up in a day or two as well. However, in the coming few weeks, as weather gets warmer, the overall road conditions on Manali Leh Highway will improve further and further. So, do plan a buffer day or two when traveling over Manali Leh Highway in order to mitigate any intermittent road closures that you may encounter on it. Now, talking about Srinagar Leh Highway, it still continues to remain open for only one-way traffic at Zojila Pass between Sonmarg and Meenamarg near Dras. The road conditions at Zojila Pass are pretty narrow for one-way traffic only, but like Manali Leh Highway, the conditions are expected to improve in coming few weeks as weather open up and gets warmer and warmer. And finally, if you are taking direct flight from Leh, then the flights are mostly operational, though sometimes the airlines cancel the flights in case the number of passengers are very low. Needless to say that you need to follow the COVID guidelines for flying from any state to Leh. Now similarly, if I talk about the road conditions and status to reach Spiti Valley, you have two routes to choose from. First one being Shimla Kinnaur Kaza route and the other one being Manali Kaza route. The road from Shimla to Kinnaur to Kaza remains open almost all around the year, and as of now as well it is open and is in fairly good shape to travel. On the other hand, the road from Manali to Kaza over Kunzum Pass has been recently opened in the last week of May along with the opening of Rohtang Pass as well. But the road conditions between Gramfu and Kunzum Pass on Manali Kaza road are not that great. You will be facing pretty tough sections along with some deep water crossings on this route. So travel with care, caution and in a high ground clearance vehicle if possible. So you can see that you can travel from both Manali and Shimla side to Spiti Valley as per this week updates, and you can also use Atal Tunnel or Rohtang Pass route to travel to Kaza from Manali. Although tourists are not yet allowed on Rohtang Pass, but in coming weeks, I am sure they will be allowed to do so. Friends, these were some of the updates on the road conditions and the status of roads leading to Leh Ladakh and Spiti Valley. But what about the COVID restrictions for tourists entering these remote regions of Ladakh and Spiti Valley? Well, when traveling on Manali Leh Highway to Ladakh, you need to first enter Himachal Pradesh, which will only be allowed after showing negative RT-PCR report for the last 72 hours and an e-pass which you can get from official Himachal Pradesh government website after showing valid hotel booking in Himachal. If the e-pass gets rejected, then talk to your hotel folks and they will be able to help you out. And those of you who have got fully vaccinated and have both the doses of COVID-19 vaccine, they may be allowed without RT-PCR report in Himachal, but e-pass is mandatory for everyone. So if you are traveling to Spiti Valley, then this is all that you will need, as Spiti lies in Himachal and following the same COVID guidelines from the state itself. There are no special rules within Spiti Valley as of now for sightseeing purposes. Now as you move towards Leh Ladakh from Manali, then first you need to show the negative RT-PCR report at Upshi before entering Leh region. When you are traveling from Srinagar side, then you need to show this negative RT-PCR report at Meenamarg checkpost before Dras, then at Khalsi checkpost after Lamayuru and Phiang checkpost just before entering Leh region. And before you enter Srinagar, you need to submit the negative RT-PCR report when entering Jammu and Kashmir at Jammu checkpost as well. And finally, if you are flying directly to Leh, then you need to show your negative COVID RT-PCR report at the airport itself. The RT-PCR report required for Ladakh region should not be older than 96 hours. Now let me share few more important pointers that you should note about COVID restrictions on a Ladakh trip. Number 1. What if you do not have the negative RT-PCR report? Well, if you cannot show the negative RT-PCR report, then you will have to undergo a mandatory COVID-19 test at the checkpost itself, and you will undergo a quarantine over there. You will only be allowed to leave from there after your report comes out negative. Number 2, what if you are fully vaccinated? Even if you are fully vaccinated, you need to have a negative RT-PCR report to enter Ladakh region from both Srinagar side as well as Manali side, or even flying to Leh as well. However, when you are flying back to Delhi from Leh and if you are fully vaccinated, then some of the airlines will discount the negative RT-PCR report for you. Number 3. Do you need to undergo any kind of a rapid test? Well, even if you have a negative RT-PCR report or you are fully vaccinated, the rapid test or RAT test is mandatory for all travelers or passengers at the checkpost of Myanmar, Khalsi, Phyang, Upshi and airport before entering the Ladakh region. In case you are tested positive, then you will have to undergo quarantine at the place of your stay or COVID care center nearby the checkpost. And number 4, if you are wondering where you can get the RT-PCR test done in Leh for going back home, then the tourist can get the test and reports done for COVID-19 from SNM hospital in Leh from 11 am to 1 pm. So friends, this was all about reaching Ladakh, but what happens within Ladakh for sightseeing? Well, once you are in Ladakh region, when applying the inner line permits for sightseeing, you need to show the negative RT-PCR report at DC office in Leh. This permit will also act as a car or travel pass to roam in Ladakh region for any sightseeing to places like Nubra Valley, Pangong Tso or Somori Lake. I must tell you that DC office was shut down in the last week of May for a few days due to COVID-19 outbreak and opened up only after it was safe to work over there. And now for getting the permits, the entry to DC office is allowed only for one person per group only. The timings of the office for issuing the permit is from 10 am to 12 pm only, and DC office will remain closed on Sundays. Now that you know about the road condition and COVID rules or restrictions to reach Leh Ladakh or Spiti Valley, let us look at some of the other important updates, especially about the Corona curfew guidelines in Ladakh that may impact your Ladakh trip. Firstly, Corona curfew was in effect till 7th of June in Ladakh region. I believe that they have extended the order till further notice at the time of recording of this video, but there are some relaxations to the original order as per the guidelines issued on 4th of June. Secondly, let us talk about the public transport, the bike rentals and the taxis. Well, buses from Srinagar to Leh and Manali to Leh are not running as of early June. Similarly, I am not aware of any local buses running within the Ladakh region as well as of now. So if you are considering public transport for your Ladakh trip in 2021, especially in June, it will be a challenge until COVID restrictions do not go away. Same way, you can pretty much forget about the shared taxis for sharing sightseeing tour costs. The private taxis for tourists are running, but they are limited to 50% capacity only. So, no more than 3 tourists in one SUV taxi are allowed. It may be possible that if the group is from the same family, then you may be allowed, but I'm not 100% sure about this rule. The bike rental shops will only open in a limited time period as per the roster issued by the authorities, which indicates Monday and Tuesday from 2 pm to 5 pm only. You can rent the local Leh bike and go for sightseeing in Ladakh, but like I said earlier, you need to carry your permit as a pass for sightseeing. And in case you are worried, pillion on the bike is also allowed in case you have one with you. Hence, you can see that you will pretty much need to manage your own commute when traveling to Ladakh in this time period. Point number 3, only limited hotels or guest houses are open in Ladakh as of now, and many of them are reserved for quarantine facilities for the locals of the region. Most of the hotels do not have cook or helpers who come from other parts of the country, so they prefer to remain shut down for the remaining season. Same is true for many restaurants in Leh as well, and they are mostly closed. So think about the limited options of stay and please confirm that the hotel or guest house that you plan to stay is open, and be ready to have a limited food options availability as well. Point number 4, shops in Leh market will be allowed to open on roster basis only, and safety guidelines must be strictly followed. All shopkeepers will be vaccinated and they are required to display the vaccine certificates on their shops. Now consider that you may need an essential item on your trip or help from a travel agent or bike rental shop. The shops will only open based on the roster that is published, and you will have to plan your trip accordingly. I have attached this shop roster annexure from the published guidelines in the video as well, refer to the link of it. Point number 5 is about the vehicle movement restrictions. Well, the general movement of vehicles for public or non-essential services is restricted by odd-even formula, where Monday, Wednesday and Friday are given to vehicles registration ending with odd numbers and the other days are for the even numbers. Weekend curfew will continue to be enforced until further notice, during which there will be a complete restriction on all kind of movements including government offices. There is a set of exclusion to this rule as per the circular and I have attached it in the description of this video. Similarly, the night curfew for non-essential services will also remain in force from 10 PM to 5 AM. Point number 6, if you are concerned about whether the authorities or police is causing any trouble for tourists or not when traveling to Himachal or Ladakh, well, I have not heard anything regarding it and tourists in general are spared from any kind of such hassles. Finally, point number 7, when traveling by road to Leh Ladakh, you will have to cross many other states like Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, Himachal and Jammu and Kashmir. Each of them have their own COVID lockdown restrictions and need of RT-PCR reports to enter or exit at different time ranges. So this means going through multiple RT-PCR tests, which not only causes hassles but also has a budget impact as well. Now again, the $1,000,000 question comes. After knowing all this, should I travel in the month of June or July? Well, personally, if you compare the May update and the June update, nothing major has changed in the situation apart from roads to Ladakh now remaining mostly open. Most of the hardship from COVID tests to curfew restrictions to limited stay or food options to limited transport options are still applicable and I see them continue for a month or two as well. Of course, there are some relaxations in terms of shop roster system launched for opening some of the shops, but still consider this that it will be a hassle to match the roster with your own plan. Hence, if you're traveling in June or July, take all these factors into account and best is to stay at home and let things settle up. However, if you are really interested in going all the way to Ladakh or Spiti Valley, then mostly you need to be self-sufficient, especially in terms of transport and snacks or food. But what to do if your trip is planned later in the season like in the month of August or September or even October? Well, it is hard to predict and we all are hoping that things will change for good, but I feel that the effects of COVID's early season damage could prolong till the end of Ladakh season in 2021. Still, if you have bookings for August, September or October, I will hold on to them to see how things settle up in next couple of months, especially with more and more people getting vaccinated and healthcare system ramping up. All this said and done, friends, please note that things are changing almost every day and these restrictions or rules may not be even applicable couple of weeks from now. Who knows what fate in this pandemic hit world has in store for us. So stay tuned to my monthly Ladakh and Spiti travel updates that I'll publish every first Monday of the month and take a call accordingly for traveling up there. Not to forget, all these updates would not have been possible without my dear friend from Ladakh, Gurmat Namgyal, who runs a bike rental shop and a hostel in Leh. If you need anything, I have given his contact details in the description of this video. Now in the end, if you found this video helpful, please do not forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you need any help or have any questions on your upcoming trip to the Himalayas, please feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll be more than happy to help you out right away. Till then my friends, Jule and please keep our Himalayas clean, stay healthy, stay safe.